What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about DC Fandom. I want to talk about how it's going to work, or at least how I think it's going to work, and also what we can expect there. So, when they announced this thing, this is going to be a massive, massive event, okay? I know a lot of people are very much looking forward to it, and there's a lot going on. I've seen people ask me over the past couple weeks, how exactly is this thing going to work? And again, like, what exactly are we going to show? How is it going? So, let's go through this. And the best way to go through this, honestly, is just going to their website. So, you go on, you look at DC Fandom. So we're going to read some of this, but then I'm going to kind of break it down and talk about what exactly we can expect. So again, for those that don't know, I guess, Saturday, August 22nd, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, they will be starting DC Fandom, okay? It's a free event online where you don't have to have a badge, so you don't have to pay, okay? You just go online and it's going to be there. There are going to be announcements for 24 hours. Now, the thing you got to think about with this, and this does come to, well, Alex, how is this going to exactly work? They mention in this that that they know that there's going to be people in different time zones. So I almost wonder if they're going to kind of focus on a certain time zone at a certain time. You know what I mean? So like it's 10 a.m. Pacific time, let's say, right? So that's like, that's 1 p.m. Eastern. And you can obviously dictate your time based off of that, right? So like that's daytime for part of the world, but not another part of the world. Another thing is there's going to be different languages. So you have to think about that as well. People that are maybe overseas, so I'm in the U.S., obviously, but people that are overseas and stuff, I mean, if they don't speak English or whatever, obviously they're not, I mean, it doesn't matter what they show, right? Because it's just not going to affect them. So they may have specific things specifically for them, which again, they talk about. And again, because it's 24 hours and it's only available, by the way, only available for 24 hours. So I almost wonder if later on in the day, as we go on later in the day, so say it's like 10, 11, 12, like midnight, okay, Eastern time. Obviously, that becomes daytime for overseas, like Europe, let's say, it's like 7, 8, 9, 10 a.m., okay, depending on where you are, right? So for them, the day's kind of just been started, and it's not done with the 24 hours. In fact, again, this thing starts at 10. Imagine 10 o'clock, p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's going to be daytime in another part of the world. So again, it may not, so what I'm trying to drive home, it may not be literally 24 hours of things, okay? So if we're expecting Batman, and by the way, this isn't just about games. If we're expecting movie trailers and TV talk and all this different kind of stuff, I don't know if it's literally going to be for 24 straight hours. They're just going to give us info after info. And in fact, I will tell you, I do not think at all that's what it's going to be, right? I think it's going to be, okay, we're going to get a whole bunch of stuff at this certain time, but then when it's kind of more convenient for another time, we're going to talk about this for them. You know what I mean? And maybe there'll be a break for something else. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, again, this is just, I wanted to make this video. I could also see how I'm probably going to get some hate from this. Obviously, I don't have a magic wand. I'm not in there. I'm not planning DC Fandom, right? I don't know specifically how it's going to work. This is just my opinion. This is just kind of how I'm expecting to go into that day. I'm not expecting to stay up for 24 hours, okay? So I'm going to wake up, I'm going to be ready to go at 10 a.m. Pacific, but I'm not going to stay up till 10 a.m. Pacific the next day, you know what I mean? And I honestly don't think anybody will have to. I think we're going to be able to get the information when, in the time zone that best fits us, okay? So let's go through the rest of it. So it's going to have games, it's going to have movies, it's going to have comics, it's going to have all this stuff. Aquaman, the Batman, Batwoman, Black Adam, Black Lightning, DC. So you go through this entire thing. Now, what are some things we can expect? So for gaming-wise, there's two of them. There's really only two that we can even consider that's going to happen, at least guaranteed. There could be a third, which I'll talk about in a second. The Batman game, okay, from Warner Bros. Montreal. That is obviously the big one. That's the one that I think we are going to get the most on. Now, do I think we're going to get a lot? No, I think we're going to get a trailer, a 2 to 4 minute trailer, CG, maybe gameplay mixed in. Honestly, not even very likely that would happen. Depends on when the game would release, right? That's what I think we're going to get, okay? 2 to 4 minute trailer, Batman, done, Warner Bros. Montreal. Now, there's going to be interviews with people and creators and teams and studios all throughout the day. So again, would we get more information afterwards? Yeah. Are we going to get it all during that trailer? No. Rocksteady's game, whether it's Suicide Squad, whether it's Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, whether it's Superman, whether it's just Justice League, we're going to get that. Again, what are we going to get there? Teaser trailer. Very different than the Batman trailer, right? Because this one is going to be a lot smaller. It's going to probably be 1, maybe 2 minutes absolute max. We're probably not going to get a lot of information. Third thing, potentially a Superman game. There's been a lot of rumors that a Superman game exists. There's been a lot of rumors that it's an Xbox exclusive. I don't believe that last part. At the same time, if there was ever a time to announce your Superman game, if Warner Bros. Has a Superman game, whether it be from one of their own studios or somebody else that they have a contract with, now is the time to announce it, okay? In terms of movies, now, I'm not the biggest into comics. I'm not the biggest into TV, so I mean, I may just skip those altogether. I honestly feel like we're going to get some sort of, like, legit teaser for the Suicide Squad, James Gunn's Suicide Squad. It's finished filming, okay? They finished right before all the stuff, around the world happened. It's done, so it's been being edited at this point. So they actually, like, legitimately, they would have information to show us. They'd actually have clips. They would have, actual parts of the movie that they're very, ready to show. For things like the Batman, even like Aquaman 2, stuff like that, not a lot you could do. Even for, like, the Batman, like, it's still not filming. It's going to start filming in September. They only have, like, 15% of the movie done. I mean, I guess you could maybe show Robert Pattinson in his suit, maybe like something you took of him, or maybe you show like concept art for something. You know what I mean? I'm not exactly sure what we're gonna see from that. Same thing with like Aquaman. Like, what are you gonna do? Black Adam. Like, none of these things are filming yet. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe casting. Maybe I don't even know, because you already kind of have release dates for it. Obviously, this is mainly for a gaming thing, but I do think we're gonna get a lot of stuff with, again, TV shows, movies. I think it's going to be really, really exciting. Now, let's go through to this. So, exploring DC fandom. I want to read through this, and then we're going to try and break it down and talk about what it means, because this is honestly literally how it's going to work. So, there's going to be a DC Watchverse. Here's where you grab a seat. Sit back and join our virtual audience and become completely engrossed in hours of must-see content from around the world. Everything from panels and exclusive screenings to never-before-seen footage. Oh, by the way, Snyder's, obviously there's going to be the Justice League, I think, trailer. We're going to probably see that, right? That's an obvious thing. Never-before-seen footage featuring cast, creators, behind-the-scenes crew from across DC films, TV, home entertainment, and games, okay? DC Uverse. Venture into this world where the fans are the stars to see the most amazing user-generated content, cosplay, and fan art from around the world, including perhaps your own. DC Kidsverse. Need a way to entertain your kids for hours on end? We've got you covered, including a special world where you can be accessed directly at dckidsfandom.com. This area features a broad range of family-friendly activities or activations for our younger fans. DC Insiderverse. This creativity-based world contains a centerpiece featuring legendary artist and DC CEO, publisher Jim Lee, president of DC-based film production, and creator of DC TV Arrowverse. Executive producer Greg Berlanti, welcoming fans with a 101-style introduction to the DC multiverse. From there, go behind the scenes with the master artisans who bring DC to life in all its forms, from comic books, games, TV, movies, theme parks, consumer products, and more. DC Funverse. Take your DC fandom experience and gather cool shareables. Check out our comic book reader, DIY cool Wonder Woman, 1984, Golden Armor, and Batmobile kits, plus digital giveaways and a store filled with merchandise, including some limited edition exclusives. So here's the picture. Okay, so you have the DC Hall of Heroes, and then you have all of these branches. So all of them are their own unique things. So again, when we talk about how exactly is this going to work, I mean, this is what's going to kind of be interesting. Is there going to be times during this day where there's only specific things happening in specific verses, right? I guess we can call it that because they're all called verses. Like the kids verse seems like, well, firstly, I don't even know necessarily what kid is going to be, putting up a seat to watch this kind of stuff. And by kid, I mean like, say like 8 or under, or like 9 or under. You know what I mean? Like if you're a teenager, if you're even like a 10, 11, 12-year-old, you may be interested in the trailers, in the behind the scenes, in the games that they're going to show. You know what I mean? You may be interested in that. So I don't necessarily know what they'll do with the kids one. Again, maybe that'll just literally be nonstop content, like they can keep going on that. But honestly, when you look at the rest of it, again, Watchverse, Uverse, Insiderverse, and Funverse, they don't all seem to be things that are going to be happening at the same time. You know what I mean? One of them, obviously, again, the Watchverse is you're going to be seeing things, okay? So when they talk about never-before-seen stuff, when they talk about world premieres or exclusives or, whatever, announcements, that's, I think, where it's going to be. Some of the other ones are more like, I don't know, different ways of connecting. Again, you have the Uverse, which is when you're basically talking to each other. You're going to see cosplays and stuff like that. So again, when we talk about, is this literally going to be a 24-hour thing? No, I think there'll be breaks. I think there'll be times that some of these verses, quote unquote, will not be active, where there won't be actual content in them. You know what I mean? Some of them will be at that time. Again, you also have to think of the language barrier and different time zones. So again, if you don't live in the same time zone, how are they necessarily going to do it? Are they going to repeat things? Is there going to be basically re-shows? You know what I mean? It's going to be really interesting, but some of it, even the Insiderverse, mainly talking about artists, right, and comics and how we make things. So maybe, again, if we're talking about the Batman game or Rocksteady's game, maybe we have some of their artists or some of their creative team talk about the process of designing these worlds, and we see some sketches and we see some early art or early animation, stuff like that. You know what I mean? So each of these are going to be a little bit different. Honestly, when you break it down, and not to be mean to DC fandom, when you break it down, I think everybody is in it for Watchverse. Okay, that's again the never before seen stuff, talking to the creator, and we know a lot of actors, a lot of actresses, a lot of producers and directors, and a lot of people behind this stuff. They're all gonna be there, right? Obviously from home and in different areas and stuff like that. But that Watchverse is where that's going to be. So if I'm you, okay, and you're saying, all right, well, what do I really need to focus on for this thing? Well, obviously it depends on what you're interested. If you're into comics, then you may not be interested in that Watchverse thing, right? If you have a kid, maybe you want to have them be entertained, right? Then you do something. So obviously it's for different groups of people. But for me, if I'm asking myself at least what I'm going to be most interested in, it's the Watchverse. It's all of the new stuff. It's all the announcements. It's all of the talk with the people that are making it. Honestly, I mean, the Insiderverse, something like that, that does kind of connect with me too, because I do like to see how things are made. Not necessarily maybe the art. I mean, I'm not a very good artist at all. In fact, I wouldn't even remotely use my name close to the word artist, right? I would keep those very, very separate. But I'm interested in how things are made, so I'd be interested in that. Honestly, cosplay, stuff like that, I'm not into. Kid stuff, I mean, I'm not a young kid, so I wouldn't do it. Even the Funverse, collecting things and trading things, again, that's just not for me. So it's going to be a big event. By the way, I'm not downplaying this event at all. It's going to be enormous. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of behind the scenes. We're going to see a lot of teasers. We're going to see a lot of announcements. We're going to see a lot of casting. We're going to see a lot of release dates. So many things at this event. It's just, I don't literally think it's going to be 24 hours of non-stop exciting things. There'll be 24 hours, but it's going to probably alternate between things that you as a person probably want to see, and then maybe somebody else wants, you know what I mean? Then maybe somebody else wants to see something. But I can't imagine they're showing the trailer for Suicide Squad while also at the same time talking to an artist about something. You know what I mean? I don't know if they'd be doing all of these things at the same time. Again, this is just my opinion. I don't know who's going to be watching this. I don't know what information they're going to be sharing. I mean, think about it. It's still a month away. Okay, we're still around 28, 29 days away from this happening. A lot can happen in that time. They can announce, and I hope they do, by the way, kind of clarify a little bit more. Okay, here's what to expect. Maybe here's some times. Here's when this creator or this thing is going to be here. You know what I mean? Kind of lay down a little plan or a little schedule. Right now, we don't know it, so this video may end up being a little old in a couple weeks when we know some stuff. But as of right now, that's kind of how I see it. Probably you're just going to click on a website, click on a link, and you're going to be in it. You could probably pick which of those portals you want to join in case somebody maybe doesn't know how that's going to work. I assume you'll just be able to pick and you'll be able to jump in to all these different live streams. I assume that's how they're going to set it up. I think it's going to be enormously fun. I cannot wait for it. Obviously, we're going to be talking a lot more of it as the weeks go on, and then obviously when the event's happening, I mean, I'm going to be front and center. We'll be watching it. We'll be doing lots of stuff on it. So, guys, let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Are you excited for this? Do you maybe read into this something that I don't? How do you think this thing is going to work? Let me know your thoughts. As always, make sure you guys subscribe to this YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when these videos go up. And thank you so much for watching, guys. More videos on all things DC fandom over the next couple weeks, and I hope to see you all there.